Welcome to the Silent Sounds Horror Stories.
This story sends a cold shiver throughout my body every time I think about it, and turns my blood cold. The actual events didn't begin until a week ago, on a Monday, but the origins of it all began since 2003. I wasn't home when it was delivered, but when I arrived from school, I did notice it sitting on the dining room table, unopened, as I, along with what I assumed everyone in my family thought, belonged to someone else of the family. So because of this miscommunication, it sat unopened for 2 days until finally my father asked whose package it was. When nobody claimed it as their own, he finally read the label on it, and it was simply directed to all of us as a whole. No return address. So while we were worked up trying to decipher the mystery box and its enigmatic sender, our curiosity lay with what the box held. We all gathered around the table as my dad opened it carefully, with each of us trying to take a peek inside before the rest. But once we saw its contents, we all sunk back into our seats even more puzzled than before. There were about 65 cell phones individually wrapped, enclosed in bubble wrap. A separate baggie held a variation of cell phone chargers. The models ranged from what I considered old school phones, circa 2000, to one of the newest iPhones, circa 2020. As my father unwrapped one at random, we realized it had a number permanently marked on its back, number 3. After much deliberation, we got all cell phones in order and had the first one unwrapped and turned on. At first glance, it looked like a normal cell phone screen with all its appropriated applications and whatnot. But upon closer investigation, we noticed there were no contacts saved, no incoming nor outgoing calls, nothing extra downloaded, nothing to indicate its origins nor its former owner, and no pictures at all. And this is where things take an even weirder turn. Under the videos tab, there were what appeared to be hundreds of them. But once properly counted, there turned out to only be around 22 videos ranging from 1 minute to an hour. When my dad pressed play in the first video, this is where things switched from strange to downright shockingly terrifying. It was a video taken of our family purchasing my older brother's light green Ford Taurus at a used car lot right before he went off to college. I've never felt anything like this, and I doubt I'll ever experience a fraction of it, but there was a sense of dread, wrapped in confusion, bursting with an aura of terror that my entire family simultaneously felt at once. Once we finished viewing the 13th video, so many more unanswered questions were unearthed. Why would anybody spend presumably years doing this? Why to us specifically? Who was this person? How did they find us and decide we'd be the subject of God knows what? It was 3 a.m. and work and school awaited, but none of us were tired. None of us were sleepy. We wanted answers from somebody outside this house. And that's when another question popped into my head. After all of us asking questions nobody knew the answers to. Would we even want to meet this person? Or persons? By the 19th video, we had already relived many memories we remembered, many we forgot, and many we chose to forget. All taking place in the span of 6 months. Nobody went to school or work the next day, and instead called the police. A highly unusual reason to call made our claim ideal as a top 10 bottom of the list of emergencies. So when the police showed up 6 hours later, we had gone through another 2 cell phones. Number 3 seemed to have stopped right around 2005, my older sister's graduation. You know when the day comes of your marriage and you'd hire a videographer to document everything and anything from sunrise to sunset of your very special day? The last video on number 3 was just that exactly. It displayed our morning ritual of breakfast, being shown from an outside perspective of course, to all of us showering and getting ready for the day. Arriving at the ceremony, and actually being seated 2 rows above us and to the side. The police had never encountered a situation quite like this, so honest to God, they had no protocol on the matter. They ended up taking the first 3 cell phones in for evidence and hoping to find a print, a clue, anything to start on this investigation. My father and mother didn't go to work the following day again, but me and my siblings did have to go to school. But I couldn't concentrate one bit, and I doubt any of my sisters and brothers could too. I just kept looking over my shoulder, kept looking at people I deemed suspicious, and even began fabricating stories about which one of my friends could have done this so-called prank. When I arrived home, I found my parents literally in the same exact position that I had left them in since the morning. They were up to number 5, my nephew's birth. They showed us all in the waiting room of the hospital to us eating dinner across the street. Whoever this person was recorded the most unnerving video of all. It showed all of us in my sister-in-law's hospital room admiring our newest member of the family, but from outside the window. I've never known a cell phone, especially the one in my father's hand, to record from such a length and with such clarity. The video looked as if the person was levitating right outside the hospital window. This is when I realized something that I don't think anybody had before. These videos were edited. Maybe it meant something, and maybe it didn't. But it made the whole thing creepier knowing that this person spent more time editing all these videos. The obsession of it all. The police eventually got back to us and told us what we already knew. Without said person coming clean on their own, there was absolutely no way we could find out who or why they did this. They took their time in not being found. By Thursday, we were up to number 22. Most of us hadn't eaten, slept, or thought about anything else. This is when things went from bad to worse. It was 2015, the year we moved. Not homes, but city. My father had gotten a promotion, and with it came a new location. Knowing we had 43 more cell phones to go through, we now knew what we feared. By Sunday, number 61, a lot of information we all hid from each other came to light. It started small, like when me and my brother took my father's car out on a late night joyride, or how my mother would sometimes spend more money than we thought on lottery tickets, or how my sister snuck back in after sneaking out. But things got progressively worse. My father's infidelity, my sister's abortion, my younger brother's cocaine addiction, how I lost my virginity. By Monday, we all had stopped going to work and school. Things were said that couldn't be taken back. Hearts were broken, tears enough to fill a bathtub were cried. Voices were lost amidst the yelling. Future plans began forming, which excluded some members of the family, but none of us were prepared for the final cell phone. We didn't know what to expect, as everything was already out in the open. Our entire lives captured for an unknown audience. So when the phone came up empty, we felt lost. We felt cheated out of the one question that mattered the most now. Why? The airdrop ding brought us back to reality, and we all gogged at our own phones, and for a split second, everything was back to normal. This is when we realized somebody outside the house was sending something to us. My father ran to the front door while my mother chose the back door. Me and my siblings each chose different windows with different vantage points, but everybody came up empty. Nobody saw anything. My father accepted the request from number 65. For some reason, it seemed appropriate. It was a video of a balding, chubby man. He had missing teeth and horn-rimmed glasses. It looked like he was under a light post. He began with a slight chuckle and shook his head. He turned the camera to the house in front of him. Our house, as we argued. He then flipped it back to him and uttered the 5 words that I will never forget. Can't wait for next season.